Hi, I'm Rich with Inside HPC. We're here at ISC 2016 in Frankfurt, Germany, and today we're here at the OpenHPC booth, and I'm here with Bob Wisniewski, who happens to work for Intel. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, great. I wanted to catch up with you guys. It's been a while since you announced this OpenHPC community at the SC show in November. What's new this week at ISC?
The new news at this week is that we've announced that we, Intel, are going to have a product called Intel HPC Orchestrator based on OpenHPC. We are going to continue, of course, making contributions to OpenHPC and being very active members of that organization as well.
Okay, so you got a product, Orchestrator in the name. Does that help you stand up a cluster and manage it? What's the main functions there?
Well, it does. As I mentioned, it's based on OpenHPC, and for folks who are familiar with OpenHPC, it's a complete and comprehensive software stack that you can run your cluster or up to a supercomputer based on OpenHPC. An orchestrator, based on its name, is based on OpenHPC, and it will be a supported product that we'll be offering through our OEMs and channel partners.
And I think the key word there is support, right? So it isn't just this open source thing where you got to go to a chat room to figure out how to fix something then, right?
Exactly. And there are certainly a lot of customers, be them large labs or academics, who are very comfortable with the open model, and we will continue to be active participants in that. And for other customers, more enterprise folks who want the support, kind of think of it as a dual model here, where we'll provide this capability of being able to stand up your cluster, supercomputer, but with the type of model that you want, be it you're self-supporting through OpenHPC or through a supported model with Intel.
Okay, I'm just curious about the licensing and stuff, right? Because OpenHPC was this, is it under the GPL or what is it published?
Yeah, so that's a good question. OpenHPC really is a collection of a lot of open source communities, right? It's based, there's Linux involved in it, there's resource managers such as Slurm, there's obviously the GNU toolchain. So it really is an aggregation, curation, so to speak, of a lot of the different components out there, and they each come with their own licensing. So there isn't a single overall licenses behind OpenHPC. We are hoping that new contributions, and we're trying to encourage new contributions through OpenHPC to be made with a very vendor-friendly license, be it BSD or an Apache 2 type license.
Great. And for Orchestrator, will that be open source as well?
So Orchestrator will be based on a lot of the open source stuff that is coming from OpenHPC, and we will make some, not in the first release of it, but in future releases, we will be making some additional value add contributions. So yes, by and large, all of it, because it's coming from OpenHPC, will be open source. In addition to some of the value add that we're going to be placing in it, such as additional enhancements for scalability, we will open source some of that. We do envision at some point providing value add in addition to that. We don't have that clearly defined yet.
Gotcha. Well, I guess just a takeaway question here. What kind of reaction you get? This is your community. These are the folks that would be using this. What are you hearing out there at ISC?
You know, it's been very positive. I think a lot of the folks really appreciate the open source model. I myself have been in high-end HPC for a long time, and if you look at the different tiers of the different segments, certainly especially at the high end, there's an increased interest, I should say, in the open source aspect of it, because they oftentimes have their experts who can, at their site, stand things up. So I would say the reaction to OpenHPC has been extremely positive. We've had a quicker uptake from organizations joining, as well as participants who want to contribute to OpenHPC. And I know now that the Linux Foundation has set up the governing board in TSC, they're right now in the process of figuring out how they're going to take in all the interest in these contributions. So I would say it's been very positive.
All right, Bob, in the spirit of OpenHPC, it's a community. Can people contribute and do their own modules and really participate in this project?
That's a good question. And so I think you touch on a very interesting point, which is that there's these competing tensions. If you take a look at an application user, they would just love to see one stack that all OEMs, all vendors are producing, right? Because then they wouldn't have to port. But if you take a look at it from the other perspective, either people who want to make contributions or OEMs, they want to be able to provide something that has additional value add. So we've addressed this from an architectural point of view in OpenHPC and our follow-on products by clearly defined component boundaries, where those components are able to be replaced or customized but yet there's an agreement upon conventions going up to the application, so that applications, regardless of what the underlying differentiation is that is being provided, will be able to see a very common interface. And so if it's based on OpenHPC or Orchestrator, the end application will have consistent APIs across it, but yet we still allow for the individual OEM to provide that customization or individualization.